Welcome to Campaigns Are Dumb, Episode 2, Asses of Fire. Okay, first off, I'm completely sorry if the title of this episode offends you. No, actually, I'm not. This is not a tribute to a famous South Park episode. The idea for this one actually started just 3 days ago as I walked back from my mailbox. First, let me explain. I live in Arizona's 5th Congressional District, which is currently the stage for one of the most competitive races in the nation. We have Harry Mitchell versus David Schweikert. Now wait a minute. You know, this actually could be a lot cooler if we had a boxing ring background. Ah, there we go. All right, nice. Back to the story. So Harry is the incumbent Democrat, and David is the Republican challenger. Now, I'll be very upfront and admit that I personally know Harry. Even still, I am open to hearing what both candidates have to say. So back to the story. Now, many news organizations are now calling this race a toss-up. It's heated, tons of money is being spent here, and you can imagine that this is where campaigns pull out all the stops. Unfortunately, it's also where they become dumb. Which brings us to the reason for the title of today's episode. This is one of about a dozen mailers I received late last week. Now, obviously, it stood out. It was paid for by the Arizona Republican Party and authorized by the David Schweikert for Congress campaign. This is the back, and back to the front. Now, we just gave this mailer the 2-second test. You should be able to spend a second on the front and a second on the back of a mail piece and be able to tell what the message was, which in this case is that Harry Mitchell's pants are on fire. Well, that and he's a liar. Now, I hope you can tell I am not a fan of this piece. And I did say in episode 1 that I want to suggest ways to make the things campaigns do better, so here goes. First, let's focus on the largest words on the front. Pants on fire. Now, I'm going to point out that these things here are actually pants. Over here, we have an ass. Once again, pants, ass. Now you can see where the title for today's episode comes from, with great subtlety, I might add. With that said, the first thing we're going to do is improve this piece is to make Harry's pants on fire, and not just his ass. Ah, there we go. Now those are pants on fire. Here's another thing. The authors of this wonderful example of discourse are assuming we know the common phrase they are referencing. However, they themselves do not. Now, everyone I know knows that the full saying is, liar, liar, pants on fire, hanging from a telephone wire. There we go. Much better. So now all we have to do is add some telephone wire and... there we go. Perfect. Yeah, maybe not so much. The real truth is there's no way to fix this. There's no way to make this mailer better. In a word, it's embarrassing. So why would a campaign authorize a state political party to send this out? Because they want to get noticed. And to my own chagrin, mission accomplished. The fact is, in politics, humor does work. Sometimes. The problem is it has to be funny to people old enough to vote. And if it isn't, at what cost does a campaign sacrifice being this dumb? Maybe maturity and credibility. You know why? Because even if David Schweikert is a better candidate with better ideas and better experience, I'll never know because apparently he lost me before I made it to 2nd grade. Seriously, if your campaign is considering doing something like this, think about these 2 words first. Grow up. And one more thing. When I was doing the research on the liar, liar, pants on fire line for this episode, I came across this definition of the phrase on the wonderful satirical site urbandictionary.com. Liar, liar, pants on fire is a phrase that children like to scream at each other whenever they think the other is lying. It is an overall stupid thing to say, since if your pants actually caught on fire when you lied, more politicians would be dead. Now I'm going to leave it up to you to figure out the operative phrases in this definition. Who am I kidding? There you go. And that's today's episode of CampaignSAreDumb.com. Until next time, don't be a dummy.